James Doakes is not who you think he is. The man we watched spitting surprise motherfucker on our screens is practically a different person from the novels. While TV Doakes got blown to bits in Season 2, Book Doakes suffered a fate so horrific it makes death look merciful. The truth about the real Doakes is far darker than you think. Let's dive in. TV Doakes and Book Doakes might as well be entirely different characters wearing the same badge. Remember Eric King, the actor who played Doakes? Loud, sharp-tongued, always on the edge. His glare alone could shake even the toughest criminals. Like a pressure cooker, one moment away from exploding every time he crossed paths with Dexter. I'm watching you, motherfucker. Not exactly subtle, but damn if it wasn't effective.
I'm watching you, motherfucker.
But Book Doakes, he's an entirely different detective. To begin with, his name isn't even James, it's Albert. And while TV Doakes was all about loud confrontation, Albert Doakes operated with cold, calculated precision. He doesn't need to scream in your face to let you know he's onto you.
But you just found out that somebody who's supposed to be your friend is going to live. Does that make you feel anything?
In the novels, Doakes is described as having his own dark passenger, a shadow self that makes him Dexter's mirror rather than just his enemy. This isn't some cop with good instincts. This is a man who recognizes Dexter because they're cut from the same blood-soaked cloth. And somehow, Showtime decided that was too complex for the television audience. While Showtime changed many aspects of Doakes' character, they decided to keep his military background, but made it different. As we know, TV Doakes served as an army ranger with the elite regimental reconnaissance detachment. His fellow soldiers nicknamed him Sane James because he could detect mentally unstable individuals from a mile away.
The only real question I have is why, in a building full of cops, all supposedly with a keen insight into the human soul, is Doakes the only one who gets the creeps from me?
This explains his instant distrust of Dexter. He's literally trained to spot predators hiding in plain sight. Unlike his TV counterpart, Albert Doakes served as a Marine, not an Army Ranger. He was stationed in El Salvador where things took a dark turn. The novels hint at something more disturbing than just following orders. Doakes began to find pleasure in killing. This is explained to be the origin of his own dark passenger. In the novels, those who contain a dark passenger can sense one another. Throughout the books, Albert and Dexter are onto each other. Albert is onto Dexter not just because he's a good detective. Dexter watches Doakes, but it's not only because he's observant. They recognize something similar in each other, something dark, and that changes everything. That may be why Showtime toned him down. They might have simplified Doakes to make Dexter stand out, or they just wanted to keep the story simple. Either way, the result was a completely different character. And that change didn't just alter his personality, it completely reshaped his fate. Doakes' ending in the TV show is nothing compared to the fate he meets in the books. As we know, he finds Dexter's blood slides, gets framed as the Bay Harbor Butcher, and ends up locked in a remote cabin. Eventually, Lila, Dexter's unhinged girlfriend, finds him and blows the place up, which ends up killing Doakes. That's the end of the story for Doakes in the TV series. Being blown up may seem disturbing enough, but what happened to him in the books makes that seem like paradise. His actual fate is so disturbing that it makes this death look merciful. Before discussing Doakes' fate in the novels, we need some context. In the second novel, the author introduces a new character named Dr. Danko. He was a sadistic serial killer who captured Doakes and put him through unimaginable torture. Dr. Danko is a terrifying and cruel character whose actions bring constant fear and suffering throughout the novels. He was a former military surgeon, but instead of saving lives, he chose to torture others. His favorite game? Hangman. But instead of losing a turn, his victims lost a body part. And to make it even better, you know he made sure his victims stayed awake to watch every second of it. Dr. Danko didn't just torture Doakes in the novels for the fun of it. It was personal. The books describe how Doakes and his unit handed Danko over to the Cubans, which is the moment Dr. Danko vowed to take revenge on Doakes. Doakes and his fellow soldiers gave him the name Dr. Danko after a vegetable slicer, fitting since he specialized in chopping up his victims. Years later, Danko finally gets his revenge, and when Doakes ends up strapped to a chair, Danko makes sure his punishment fits the crime. They played hangman, and for every wrong guess, Doakes lost a body part. While keeping Doakes conscious, Danko methodically removes Doakes' tongue, hands, and feet, effectively dismantling him piece by piece. But before Danko could finish, Deborah Morgan and her boyfriend Kyle Chatsky stormed in, putting an end to his twisted games for good. Doakes survives but loses most of his body parts during the game. He keeps showing up in the book series. However, he is now a mutilated, barely functional shadow of who he once was. He can only communicate through a specialized machine and requires medical technology just to move around. And yet, this is the part that's truly chilling. Even after getting tortured, leaving him in a horrifying state, Doakes continues to observe Dexter. Even after his body is broken, his suspicion never fades. He can't speak, he can't fight, he can't even stand, but his eyes never stop watching, because he knows. And as for the truth about Dexter, he never really found out that he was a serial killer, just that something was deeply wrong with him.
I'm watching you.
The two of them might be enemies, but you see, Book Doakes might be more similar to Dexter than we think. In the TV show, Doakes is always on Dexter's tail, watching him like he already knows he's guilty. He is all about intimidation. He wants Dexter to know he's being watched, hoping to pressure him into making a mistake. Yet, in the books, Doakes doesn't say much to Dexter. His method is the opposite, and very similar to Dexter's. It centers on surveillance. He collects information quietly, builds a case, and waits for the perfect opportunity. What's even more fascinating is how these different approaches affect Dexter. While Dexter in the TV series is annoyed by Doakes' constant harassment, the book version of Dexter isn't just being watched. He's being studied. Doakes sees right through him, and that unsettles the shit out of him. In the show, Doakes is a one-man war against Dexter. But in the books, if Doakes got even a little closer to the truth, Dexter wouldn't just face one enemy, he'd have to face the whole system coming for him. TV Doakes operates largely as a lone wolf. Sure, he's part of Miami Metro, but his suspicion of Dexter is personal, almost obsessive. His colleagues view his fixation on Dexter as a strange vendetta rather than legitimate police work. When he finally does discover evidence against Dexter, he's quickly framed as the Bay Harbor Butcher and eliminated before he can reveal the truth to anyone. His threat to Dexter is direct and personal, one man against another.
I don't know, he just jumped me. You guys always had it out for me.
In the books, Dexter is even more violent. He had killed more people, which made Book Doakes an even bigger threat. If he had exposed Dexter, he would have faced life in prison, or worse, execution. His suspicion of Dexter isn't just a personal obsession. It's the beginning of a potential investigation that could bring the full weight of law enforcement down on Dexter. His approach is more methodical, more by the book, and would be far more devastating for Dexter. After TV Doakes dies, Dexter moves on. His biggest threat is gone, making room for new conflicts. But in the books, Doakes is still in the picture, but mutilated and silent. He can't speak normally or chase after Dexter. Still, he watches closely. His eyes say, "I know what you are." Imagine that for a moment. TV Dexter gets the relief of Doakes' death, a break, a fresh start. Book Dexter doesn't get closure. He gets a constant reminder. Every time he sees Doakes, broken but still watching, he's forced to relive how close he came to being caught. The big question is, does it really matter that Doakes is so different in the books and the show? Adaptations change things all the time, but this wasn't just a small tweak. It changed everything. The TV show made Doakes a simple villain, erasing a deeper, more disturbing story. We missed out on the tense mind games, the bond between the two predators, and the fear that Dexter's secret was never truly safe. TV Dexter moves on without consequences, but for Book Dexter, seeing Doakes in that wheelchair is a constant reminder that he's a killer, and Doakes could have been the one locking him behind bars. Perhaps most importantly, we get two different stories about Dexter Morgan himself. In the show, Dexter remains a unique villain who hunts other villains, but in the books, he's just one predator in a world full of them. So when you think about Sergeant James Doakes from the TV show, remember, there's another version of him, Albert Doakes, whose story reveals a darker, more unsettling truth. Sometimes the people hunting monsters understand them because they're not so different after all. In the end, Doakes suffered in both the book and the TV show. But the real question is, who had the better fate? TV Doakes died with dignity, knowing he was right, while book Doakes lived as a brutal warning of what happens when you get too close to the truth.